Fortunately, his attention was diverted when Shuangwei rose to fetch the tea, drawing notice to her tail's elegant coiffure. Though the prince had given raves at the earlier preview, his feeble memory failed him. The stunning vision was as if anew. All eyes followed as Shuangwei strode toward the kitchen, Zhuang's gleaming with admiration, Buyao's twinkling with newfound awe and old-found mischief. During his student days, the prince had been punished repeatedly for dunking schoolmates' appendages into their inkwells. The female monkeys' tails had been particularly enticing, with their colorful ribbons tied in big fluffy bows. Shuangwei's current dress was a pleasant reminder of simpler times, and Buyao couldn't help but give her pigtail a playful yank. The carefully constructed ringlet unraveled in Buyao's paw, calling attention to the fact that his sister indeed had the two tails for which she was named. While the Hog King had been properly introduced to Princess Shuangwei, he assumed she'd been given a monkey family moniker, not titled for a personal trait. When those twin tails unwound before him, Zhuang greeted them with a snort of dismay. Buyao, the gifted mimic, echoed him perfectly, adding to it a signature flourish. Mid-snort, he sprayed a mouthful of slops on the hoof-stitched tapestry, one of the Hog King's gracious peace offerings. The tapestry and the meal were concurrently ruined. Shuangwei made a desperate attempt to save the evening and the amity. She had been warned by the Prime Minister that her appointment to the throne would be scrutinized, as it was, by and large, customary for a king to be succeeded by his son. It was also customary, in Monkey Kingdom and beyond, to keep physical defects hidden at all costs. The Hog King reluctantly voiced his concern. "Your father is a very wise monkey, Shuangwei, one for whom I have great regard. While I'm loath to doubt his Royal Highness, I must admit some misgiving. Will your subjects abide by a ruler so different from themselves?" Tears welled in Shuangwei's eyes as she answered earnestly, "Your Majesty, my father, whom I concur is terribly wise, has chosen me to follow in his footsteps. I have agreed to oblige, though I'd much prefer to live on in seclusion. The citizens of Monkey Kingdom have been loyal to my father thus far. Should they contend against him, they'll be free to depart for other lands. Pens may be suitable for pigs, but monkeys require a wider range." "This world has room enough to contain all," Zhuang replied, and with that brief bit of philosophizing, he retreated. He left Shuangwei with heartfelt blessings and well wishes for her ailing father. Buyao was bid goodbye with a single grunt. Old Mercy, Sube, was asked to live up to her name once again and carry the former crown prince home. There he remained, more safe than sound, though not for long. Shuangwei released the fortress's cats from subterranean captivity before retiring to her chamber, where she wept bitterly throughout the night for her own lost liberty. Wu Zhuo had planned to lead a mock kung fu battle amongst the cats, a test of their newly acquired skills, some very complicated kicks, strikes, and jumps. Instead, she appointed the fair-minded Chu Shi commander-in-chief, and went to Shuangwei's side, where she fought to maintain a cheerful disposition. Did nature trump nurture? Was blood really thicker than water? Wu Zhuo longed to know. Shuangwei, however, seemed quite certain of the answer, a resounding no. They'd broached the subject many times, Shuangwei consoling Wu Zhuo with gentle reminders that she was still wanted in their native land. Momo had sent her kitten away out of love, in desperation, unlike the selfish royal monkeys who'd banished their only daughter to avoid the humiliation her birth defect might have caused them. And now Shuangwei was being asked to return to her alleged home to serve her people, among them the mother she barely knew. "Where is my pledge?" the monkey princess sobbed. "My guarantee that Two Tails won't still be one too many?" Bourgeois had ample love to give, but she could not offer her assurance. In an ideal world, mused Bourgeois, she and Shuangwei would rule side by side from a new capital called for Two Tails, in honor of the unrelated sisters and their two stories, distinctly akin. The pleasant notion lulled Bourgeois to sleep, but in her unsweetened dreams, a scolding or scalding milk pour awaited.
This world is hardly ideal.
Nai Ping admonished.
The sooner you accept it, the better off you'll be. Shuangwei must assume her filial duties. You are obliged to shisheng. There are indeed two tales to be told, and from two different places.
Nai Ping continued his reproval.
True, you and the one you know as sister have both been called to rule, but each of you owes allegiance to her own kind. While you lead the cats out of bondage, Shuangwei will coach the monkeys in self-reliance. Only when they've learned to survive apart will cats and monkeys be able to live in harmony. And isn't that what you and Shuangwei desire above all else?
There was no need for Bourgeois to answer. Plans had been carefully made by the gods, and it was her job to trust in them while muddling through the storms that lay ahead. Nai Ping declared there would be but three: a storm of water, a storm of blood, and a storm of milk.
You are adequately prepared,
were his final words to her. Bourgeois was never to see him again. She awoke beside Shuangwei, paw in paw, feeling somewhat less than adequate, feeling not the least bit prepared. But rain was already beating on the rooftop. The first of the storms had begun. It was an electrical storm spanning the entire river's length. In Monkey City, the Prime Minister issued a decree. All monkeys were to stay indoors. The cats of the kingdom needed no such warning, but the former Crown Prince, fool be his name, took it upon himself to see that they remained under quarantine. Boya was convinced, and as usual wrongly so, that the dreaded St. Vitus dance could be transmitted by lightning bolt. Hoping to save his people from epidemic, as he previously boasted of, he set out for Kitty Corner to make certain all doors and windows were closed. The prince was donned in his royal finery, cloth of gold robe, bejeweled crown and scepter, poor costume choices during an electrical storm. He'd gone no farther than the palace doorstep when he was stricken. His piercing shrieks brought his mother, the queen, to his side. Boya had become a lightning rod, and the queen's proximity cost her life. She died cradling her son in her arms, crying,
"My baby, my only one."
Monkeykind, less Shuangwei, mourned the royal's demise, wanting in dignity, whining, kicking, biting, screaming, reverting to infancy. Without the cat's dedicated service, Monkey Kingdom became a shambles. In a matter of weeks, the capital city was indistinguishable from its neighboring garbage dump. Meanwhile, the cats kept clean due to the quarantine, and fit due to Kung Fu, causing the monkeys to eye them with grave suspicion. What was their secret, these four-footed beasts, the monkeys speculated? How might they be conspiring against us? After the storm, Bourgeois met with Shuangwei, alerting her of what was still to come. Together they authored Shuangwei's first official royal speech, instructing the monkeys to beseech their cat comrades' aid. But the monkeys were far too proud to heed this advice, and so their plight grew, as did the cat's newfound power, Kung Fu.